Boop, boop, ba-doop, boop, boop. Okay, no music playing right now because I have one input for this, and I'm using it for what I'm doing here. So for any sort of stream or what have you, uh, background music, I got a bunch of those going. I typically am making those here on Korg Gadget on my Switch. So don't have as much time today. I got like 45 minutes instead of however many hours that I normally am doing stuff. And so I just figured I'd work on a song, and that would be what I'd do for today. Is this as bright as it goes? Yeah. So, um, depending on what sort of theme or something I have for a tape that's going on, I'll make different choices. For how stuff goes, typically I just do randomized stuff because I don't know that much about music theory, and it's easier to have some things going about for me. So never work with time limit. That's like if you're trying to do a game or a challenge for yourself. Random starting gadget. I like to have that on just because it mixes up what I choose. Because if I don't, then I default to like 3 or 4. The gadgets are the different like synth emulation things that they have going. Random tempo, depending on what I'm doing. What I've been working on more recently is trying to do good background music. So I've been working at a slower tempo, everything being at 75 BPM, random scale. I don't know enough about scales. If it sounds good, then I keep it. If I don't, then I start over again. I don't like the scene or gadget lock or the note limit. So the only thing that I'm turning on here, random starting gadget and random scale. And then I'm going to come in and change the BPM, the tempo down to 75. And I'm not used to holding the mic and working at the same time, but you have various gadgets that are thrown in the mix. That's like a regular drum machine. This is one that's based off of a electronic analog. That's more electric sounding and has more limited options. This one's based off of like a mode. Let me turn this brightness up a little bit so you can see a little more clearly. This is monophonic. This one's more of a... Anyway, a few different ones. I'll mess around with different settings as I'm going through, but first thing I'm going to try and establish is some sort of basic drum pattern. I don't really like... Let's... Says distortion thrown on all these. What if I turn it up? Turn down the boost and the level. What if the distortion's off? I'm gonna put on both sides of my headphones for this. Okay, I'm just gonna mess with this for a while. Okay, so I think that's a song. And I can go through sort of how it's organized and what's happening on each thing. So in this first scene, so it's a looping thing, it's just a 4/4 measure. There's a kick. Let me darken this a little bit. So it's a kick that's these 1, 2, 3, and that's on this sort of analog drum machine deal. Maybe I should switch out. I'm gonna switch the. What does this go to? This lens that I'm working with, 60. What is this? Zoom lens. This is. Oh, it goes to 45. So it's further away. I'd have to adjust the position, and I don't want to deal with that right now. So, it's the kick that is a sine wave. You have 3 options here. Sine wave, mid-low tuning, moderate decay, very low bend on that kick sound. Decent level, moderate boost, and the pan is in the middle. And then this sort of snappy sound. The noise is all the way up. It's pretty snappy on this sort of thing. Long decay, low tuning. So it goes for a minute, and it's also got a distortion filter effect, which is what's listed up here. And that's the base of that drum pattern. And then more natural sounding drum comes in here that has a it's tuned down, but the timing on it is lower, so it's not like a full kick, full sound. It sort of cuts it off, and it has a BPM delay, so beats per minute delay, so it falls into the rhythm of the song, or at least like its major thing, so it's easier to get it to coordinate. So those two are playing at the same time, and then the next one comes in, and it's a little bit more aggressive with bringing in both a bass that is a I think it's a triangle wave, and another synth that has a heavy BPM on it, or delay effect on it. So the this is a bass. It's pretty simple. It's just 2 notes played in different directions. This is a sawtooth wave with a cutoff that's pulled down a little bit, so it doesn't have super high end frequencies. Pretty long release, so the notes sort of hit each other. They don't fully get out of the way. And low drive, low peak, and the tone is tuned down. There's no noise or really strong effects on this because this is just using the preset is the introduced or whatever. I don't know what the initiate. So like when you would turn it on, like the bass bits about it. So you can hear it in the mix, and it's hitting on the 1, 2, 3. Well, it's the 1, 2 on different patterns. And then here's that heavy delay effect. And this is another one that's the initial default, which in the case of this synth, it's a sine wave that is just fully on there, and it doesn't have any effect. So I threw the delay effect on it and increased the release. And so this is also a polyphonic little synth guy, and so you have multiple things. You can have multiple notes at once where the bass is monophonic, so it only has 1 note at any given time. And there's all 4 of those together. And then I took the same note pattern that I created for the delay heavy synth guy and put it onto two others. This one I'm not as well versed in the Korg Gadget, but it worked whatever default preset was playing at the time. And then I have spent more time with this one that's more of a the design of it is like an arcade sort of machine, and it has some stuff that comes from like chiptune or 8-bit sort of music. There are 5 waveforms by default. There's triangular wave, which has the smoothest sort of sound to it. You can listen to it. Then a square wave that sounds more electronic because this isn't a waveform that occurs naturally in like any sort of, just it doesn't occur naturally in nature because it's on off and it doesn't have any sort of thing. And then this has an adjustment for the on off period, and then a more pronounced one, and then one that has it happening more often, which is more of a noisy sound, which is what I went for. And it has a compression effect on it, low release, and I doubled up the notes. I just copied and pasted them, so it has the same sort of sound that's happening with the but it's turned down and pulled back a little bit, and it's happening twice as often because it doesn't have like a delay effect on it or something. So you have a mix of the timing on it all. And this is sort of just filling out the space, this synth here. And the difference in the pattern is, instead of having these 2 notes long, I made it so they're shorter for this one. And then I took out the initial long notes of this pattern for the like primary synth guy. And then I copied the pattern that has the doubled up notes, so it happens a bit more. And also there's a new sound on the drums. And then this one has the 2 sort of filler synths drop out. That extra drum bit drops out. And then the analog drum kicks out. And you come back to the longer notes and the less frequent notes on this guy. And then it cuts out the second half of the pattern. And then just one last kick so that you have the delay effect coming through. So played in order. might mess around and refine it a little bit, but typically when I work on these, I sort of record it directly to, got a cassette deck that is a little bit better than what you see over here. The one over there is mono and doesn't have any levels that you can read. I have a better one that's over there in the corner, and then record it to the cassette and then rip the recording to my computer. So I have a digital copy of it, and that's what you hear for any like background playing or when I have videos. And yeah, so that's how I made a song. And after I stream this, I'll record this to analog, and then if you want to, now's a good time to pitch. If you want to watch this stream in full, you can do so here on YouTube. I have less time today, so it's a shorter stream. And yeah, you can watch through and see the sort of creation of it. And if you want to, I'm thrown off. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Spotify, all of those places. I'm Traceloops, TRECELOOPS. If you want to buy something from me, you can go to my web store, traceloops.com/store. If you want to purchase something and have it shipped outside of the U.S., you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, commissions, etc., etc. Again, that is traceloops@traceloops.com. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/traceloops, where you will find older recordings of live streams. You'll also find high-resolution versions of artwork that I create during streams if I'm making something that's a visual thing at higher tiers. Oh, also at base tier, you get you'll find a selection of tutorials, and then at higher tiers, you get new songs from me weekdays, which is what this goes to. Eventually, if it's a selection of the tape that I like best and it flows well for edited down compilation, then those get pushed to Spotify. But if you want the individual tracks like pretty frequently, that's at the mid tier for my Patreon subscription. And I'm working on these usually not during stream earlier in the morning, but I had some other stuff recently and didn't get around to it. And then at the highest tier, you get a monthly postcard from me with original artwork on the front, little message on the back, and a discount to that aforementioned web store. I'll play the middle part of this. Ready? It's gonna come in now. I really like delay effects and lower frequencies of synths so that it just sort of fills out the space in a somewhat muted tone. And that's what you find for most of the background music that I have on stuff. Yeah, I think that's it for today. Plan on being back tomorrow. I'll probably be back to animating, time permitting. Should be good. I don't think I have anything that would stop me from doing that. Another mixed media loop of some kind. It's the easiest thing for me to go about doing repeatedly. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed watching a song get made, and I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good afternoon, evening, night, morning, wherever you're at. It'll vary a bit, but adios.